Hello, and welcome to another episode of LB Presents Unite on Purpose, a purpose-driven movement towards global unity. I set up this channel because I wanted to interview all the purpose-led businesses that had been coming through my Bob Business School and building their brands to impact industries and shift the world. And it was always my belief that we could shift the world into a new era through the eyes of brands, and that institutions alone were never going to make the change. And the change in society would always come from the people and not from the institutions. And so when I decided to interview all these incredible businesses that were leading with purpose, I really wanted to showcase what I believed was the face of modern business and the face of the modern world. And so today is no exception. I am interviewing Nicki Rowland, and Nicki Rowland has worked in the dental industry for, I think, about 30. Have you been working in there a very large amount of time?
Yes, I've worked in health and social care environments, since my early 20s. So, yeah.
I thought so. I was going to put in a number, and then I went, I'm just going to check in that it was as long as I've read.
Yeah.
And so, look, Nicki has a fantastic business called the Exceptional Leadership Academy. And I believe that you wanted to bring a much needed leadership skills to the world of dentistry, but also to the world of social care and environments like that. And, you know, look, I'm a dentist daughter. And my dad was a dentist and my brother was a dentist. So I was brought up with teeth all around the dinner table, and I know only too well the world of dentistry. So I can't imagine, like, you've worked in this industry for so long. How has that been for you? How did you get into the industry in the first place? Can we start there?
Yes. Well, I didn't train as a dentist. I actually trained as a physiotherapist many years ago. Yeah, I know. My world has evolved massively across the years, but my synergy with dentistry was that I had a real special interest in head and neck oncology patients, and used to work within that area of physiotherapy. So it's a very harrowing world. It's a head and neck cancers. But yeah, just coincidentally met a dentist, married a dentist. And when we had a baby and toddler in tow, set up our squat practice. So that was back in 2005 now. So my world in the dental world, it was a steep learning curve. And I learned so much through my mistakes. And I think one of the big things that I've learned is that, it is leadership that is massively lacking in the world of dentistry. Dentists are clinicians. You know, that's what they train to do, to treat patients and make a difference to patients. Leading their team members is then very much left up to a practice manager. And a lot of the time, practice managers are dental nurses, receptionists who aspired to work their way through the ranks, which is amazing, but they don't necessarily have the innate leadership and soft skills that they need. And they don't necessarily get the training to be a leader either. So I think very much what we're seeing, particularly in England, is when CQC, the Care Quality Commission, come in and inspect dental environments and other health and social care environments like GPs and care homes. One of the massive elements that's lacking and where organisations are failing is within the leadership, within the well-led element of those businesses.
So look, if I take you back to 2005, which is when I believe you had your own clinic, and then you won many awards over the years for what you've done in the industry. And you also worked in a training environment as well, I believe, going through your career. Can you talk to me about that? Because obviously I relate to you about the whole leadership side in dentistry. I recognize that, you know, I look at my dad and my brother and, you know, they ran a practice. They weren't looking to lead or even lead in an industry or even change an industry for that matter. And so it inspired me when I read about your background, actually, and how you'd come through, how you'd won many awards and you transitioned in that way, because that's not normal for an industry like the dentistry industry. So can you share that with me a bit more?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I think being a real people person, I really like to connect with people, and I think that's the one way that you get the best out of them. And it was no different going from being a physiotherapist and working with patients and rehabilitating them to get them to face their limiting beliefs. Very much so, particularly with head and neck patients, it's very psychological, and they do limit themselves. There's no difference dealing with patients and dealing with team members who have limiting beliefs as well. And for me, team members in an organisation, whether it's dentistry, care home, GP's practice, for me, they're cogs in an engine. And those cogs need to be well oiled. They need to know which way to turn and how quickly to turn to mesh together to drive the business forward. So for me, going back to your original question, Lindsay, for me, it was about investing in my team and actually engaging them, getting them totally committed to the bigger picture. And we invested a lot of time, a lot of money to training our team. And within the first the first 3 years, we doubled our turnover purely by investing in our team. That drew a lot of attention to us. The things we were doing was a little bit different. We used to do, because of my link with head and neck cancers, we used to do a lot of free oral cancer screening in our communities and invite patients, non-patients, into the business to be screened for oral cancer, because it's one of the fastest growing cancers in the UK and globally, and one of the most little known cancers. So we did an awful lot around that to raise public awareness and actually educate the public to start screening themselves and have that awareness about what they need to be looking for to come into the practice sooner than their normal checkup if they had any concerns about anything.
Gosh, when were you doing that? Because that's very revolutionary, I have to say, and pioneering for a practice to do something like that. Yet again, referring back to being brought up in an industry with my brother and my dad. And that's really pioneering, doing something like that at an early stage in the 2000s.
Yes, I mean, it was probably, we started doing a lot around it 2007, 2008.
Yeah.
And I think that drew a lot of attention from the media as well. I was invited on a lot of radio stations. We had local TV stations come in to do coverage of what we were doing because it was something quite new. It's from an educational point of view, we all need to know about this, and particularly the younger generations who think they're invincible. More and more teenagers are being diagnosed with mouth cancer and throat cancer than ever before. So for us, it was about educating people and teaching people to self-screen, because we know how to self-screen for other cancers and we're educated to do that. So we wanted to do the same for the mouth and head and neck as well.
Gosh, look, you came into my business school, my Bob Business School,
yes,
2 years ago.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved having you in the school. I loved it because you're very driven. And when I read your backstory before you were coming on today, a lot of the kind of pennies dropped around your ability to lead, how you even were in the school, your kind of openness to shifting an industry. Can you just talk to me about coming in the school and kind of where your mindset went in from a place of the industry that you've known so well, and then what you were looking to do moving forward?
Yes, and talking about pennies dropping, my massive penny dropped that first day on your course, Lindsay, because I just, like, you were speaking the same language as me, and I just felt that I needed, as much as I'm driven, I just needed to have some kind of concept that I could take into dental practices to help to reignite their fire, because I think even before COVID, a lot of dental practices were struggling. I think the public always think that dentists make a lot of money, but the world of dentistry has shifted massively since I was introduced to it. It's for any other business. And with COVID hitting, it is one of the hardest hit industries that I've come across. So and teams have been exhausted, wearing all the personal protective equipment. It's a very, very different world. And the pace is so much slower because they have to have what's called fallow time in the surgery to allow any aerosol that's created during a procedure to settle before they can actually clean the surgery down. And that's been an hour. So they've gone from seeing 30 patients perhaps in a day down to as little as 5. So you can imagine the impact on financially and on the turnover, but the expenditure as well to actually meet the new standard operating procedures that they've got to meet. The cost to the business of providing the PPE for their staff, doing what they need to do to meet all the infection control and prevention procedures that they have to. Huge impact on the industry, and morale has taken a huge nosedive. So for me, it's even before COVID, it was how do we make a difference? How do we shift an industry and an industry that's struggling financially and who don't necessarily have that ready capital to spend on marketing? How do we do something different to actually drive footfall into the business? And that's what I'm about. How do we drive new footfall without it actually coming at a great cost? And I think very much the corporate social responsibility side, as we did in our business. I mean, Lindsay, the results were fantastic. I mean, one year when we did the free oral cancer screening, we had to open up a second day because we had so many people wanting to come through. And we had a 60% conversion rate of non-patients wanting to come and actually be patients in the business.
Gosh.
There was a massive message there, though, because we were doing a life-saving measure for free, but it was about demonstrating our integrity, our authenticity, our purpose, who we were as a business and what we were all about, and actually building those trusting relationships with people. And it was that drove people to want to come and see us for their general dentistry.
Do you know, it's interesting, you when you came into the school on that first day and we sat down and we cracked your purpose around what you wanted to do, which is not difficult because you are an open source and you are a natural leader, I have to say. And I'm going to come on to that in a minute of what you've done over COVID and how you have absolutely and utterly led an industry. But when you were in the school, I'm going to ask you, which I always do when people come onto my LB Presents, Nicki, what is it that you're known for? What was the purpose that you came out with in the school that you have driven wholeheartedly, I have to say, moving forward from there?
My purpose is basically emotion-led dentistry. And what I mean by that is about injecting life back into dental practices. And really, that is two sides to that. Really, is just infusing team members again, actually getting them to love what they do again, and inspire them to be bigger and better, and not be limited by what's going on around them, but also creating those emotional connections with patients. Because for me, while the coffers are empty, it's going to be your patients that are spreading the word about how amazing you are. And actually, it's going to be those word of mouth referrals that bring the new footfall into your business. So it's about creating those emotional connections with your patients so they walk away and spread the word about you to their friends, their family, the people that they know. But also, it's rewarding them for that as well. I think everybody, when they do something good for somebody, they, in some way they want to feel needed, wanted, and appreciated for it. So I think one of the other things that we used to do in our business was track our word of mouth referrals and actually thank the patient physically for having done it. They're choosing to spend their money with you, and then they're telling other people about how amazing you are and your business is to drive more, turnover in your business. So please thank your patients, if you're listening, for doing it. And one of the things we used to do is send them a letter to thank them, but that letter doubled up as a voucher, and they could take it into this absolutely most gorgeous shop in town in Beverley, which is it's a deli, but it's a wine shop, and they do hampers and all sorts of things, and that they could take the letter into that shop and choose an array of beautifully gift wrapped goods. And what it cost us was very little when you compared it to the amount of revenue that those patients were driving into our business.
Yeah.
And I had one lady, I sent her 16 letters in 1 year. 16 letters. She was in and out that shop like a yo-yo.
You must have been delighted.
I know. And I mean, literally, those gifts cost us, I don't know, £200 to give her those gifts. But she brought in over £8,000 of revenue.
Wow.
Yeah, no brainer. Absolute no brainer. So just thanking your patients and, really just treating them with kid gloves and being appreciative of what they're doing for you makes a massive difference. And those human connections are bound by, making people feel needed, wanted, and appreciated.
Well, look, I have to say, I mean, Bob's a business. When the COVID hit, we went out and we ran webinars, as you know, and we had hundreds of businesses, thousands of businesses coming round us during the pandemic. And one of the things we led with, and that you embraced and that you also do naturally anyway, is we said to people, lead with a human response. Go out and connect in with the community and actually engage with the community and help the community and give to the community. And you do that in droves. And what I'd like to refer to is, I watched you over COVID, because obviously you've been through the school and you're part of our family, you're part of the alumni, and we adore you, and you've been through our school. And then I watched how you blossomed over COVID, and you went and led the industry, is the best way of describing it. You gathered up the industry, you set up your Facebook community, you've got thousands of dentists in there now, and you started to lead at the front in a open way, in a collective way, so that you embraced all the people that were in there, and you started leading, and actually you started shifting the industry, as I describe it, into a new era. Can you talk to me about that journey from when COVID hit and to now, and what happened? Because I watched you do this, and I'm very, very proud, I have to say, of you and what you were doing.
Thank you. I know it's one of those things. It just seems to have evolved from a small idea I had, actually. I mean, at the beginning of COVID, oh my gosh, my phone was ringing off the hook. My clients that I consult for and actually consult in practice with, there was so many questions and no answers in the very, very early days. And as the answers were filtering through, I've got a fantastic network of dental professionals and experts that I can tap into. So I was, if I didn't have an answer, I was going to the people that I know, finding the answer and feeding it back to my client. And I thought, this is ridiculous. It's so time consuming. And there must be thousands of dentists and dental professionals out there needing the same answers. So probably about a year ago now, I'd set up a Facebook group called Leadership in Dentistry, and I had about five members because I'd done nothing with it. So I thought, right, I'm going to pick up with Leadership in Dentistry. So I did. And what I started doing was, as you're doing, Lindsay, interviewing people who had the answers or were trying to dig deep and find the answers. So some really influential people in the dental world, who really are at the grassroots, at the BDA, the CQC, at the GDC, lots of different organisations that lead to dentistry. And because I was interviewing people with the answers, it was drawing more of an audience. Yeah. So literally within a few months, we're 4.9 thousand. We're edging on the 5,000.
just incredible from 5 people.
Oh, yes. Yeah, and I'm loving it. I'm absolutely loving it. And it's not just the interviews on there. I put a poll out every week as to the issues that practice managers, practice principals are facing. And on a Wednesday, myself and business partner, Andy McLaughlin,
Who we also love, who's also a big person in our Bob community. We love Andy.
Yeah, so, Andy and I take it in turns on a Wednesday to do what we call our jump the hump, because people talk about Wednesday being hump day, don't they? And when you're really struggling through the week and you're just racing to get the week finished and want to get to a Friday. So we put a poll out, find out what issues people are having, and whatever comes top of the poll, we actually give some answers and some support and some hand-holding in a little recording, but also we offer free support on the phone if people want to call us afterwards. So we do that. And on a Friday, we do like a chit chat over a coffee with Andy and Nicki, and we always cover a topic on a Friday as well. So we're just really doing everything we can to give back to the community. I mean, I've learned so much in the dental world and worked with some amazing people. And for me, I think we're moving into a new era of authenticity. And I think that's what's going to drive our businesses. And the one thing that floats my boat and makes me want to get up every morning is being of service to people. That's part of my purpose. And and really drill down into what drives me. It's knowing that I can go to bed at night knowing I've helped somebody or helped an array of people. And certainly the Facebook group is doing that, because I'm getting some amazing feedback. People can put questions on there, and if I don't know the answer or Andy doesn't know the answer, we can tag an expert who does. So it's about networking. It's propping each other up. It's holding each other's hands, and that is what the group does. And it's growing day by day.
And so from that point of having all those dentists in the group, you've now launched your Exceptional Leadership Academy.
Yes.
And really, that is a game changer, I believe, for the industry, because you're really going to teach them about leadership, around what to do with their business. We're working together with you on looking at how we can support the dentists and the dental industry. And for me, when you talked to me about launching the academy, I really felt it was a massive step forward for the industry, because like you said, in the dental world, I believe that a lot of the dentists work in silo for a start. So they're all insular in their own dental practice. And there isn't that much support for the industry in the regard of building a business or leadership. And actually coming from your space where you've done it, you've been in the industry for so long, you have some incredible knowledge about leadership. You've won many awards in that space. Can you talk to me about how that's gone from launching the Leadership Academy, and what's your vision of where you want to take it to?
Oh gosh, yes. I mean, I've always loved teaching as well. That's something else I've always loved doing. And I've always coached and always done training, but I've never had a digital presence from a training perspective. And I think we talk about pivoting, don't we, Lindsay?
Hugely.
And having to reinvent ourselves. And that's exactly what Andy and I have done over COVID. So we've set up an ELA. We call it ELA.
Yeah.
And we've got our own content on there, but essentially what we want this to be is like a box of chocolates, high quality chocolates. So all the different flavors. So we're inviting.
I'll be a toffee.
Yeah, will you? Will you put on? I'm going to be praline because they're my favorites. But essentially what we're doing is reaching out to trusted trainers within the dental world who can bring leadership, management, compliance to the training platform, and it's the best of the best of the best. So it's one platform where it's not just Andy and I putting content, but it's really high profile trainers. We're all putting content on the platform for dentists and dental teams to tap into, so they can trust that it's going to be top quality. And they're going to get the best information that they possibly can. And we're driving it through YouTube. So we're going to be doing YouTube ads. It's going to have a global reach eventually to any English-speaking country. So that's the vision, is to really change the perception of dentistry through leadership. So as I say, it's connecting with your team to get the best out of them, and for them not to have limiting beliefs, for them to know that they can achieve their potential within the business, but also creating those human connections with patients as well, and helping businesses grow, dental businesses grow through those human connections. That's what it's all about.
And so, you know that recently we all united on purpose.
Yes.
And I'll show you the bag.
I love it. I love it.
And we had, I know, hundreds of businesses come together all to unite on purpose. And a lot of them have gone on to unite on an industry. So coming together and really creating what I describe as a purpose-driven movement towards global unity, how we bring all different people within an industry together to unite. And that's quite new, because normally in an industry you'll have people being, like I said, they work in silo. They'll have their business and they'll work in their business on its own. And what you've done very, very well and very speedily is brought all of the industry together. So if you were going to unite on purpose and unite on your industry and go out and campaign tomorrow with everybody in your industry, what would you do? What would you unite on? What would you bring all the people together around a common purpose? And what would you go out with?
Unite on dentistry, but unite on leadership in dentistry. Absolutely. I think it's a driving force within any business, isn't it? We need somebody leading from the front. We don't always have that in health and social care environments per se. So for me, I would want to unite on having somebody who leads and is the yardstick in the business, who people go to, who can trust. Because again, I think without trust in your business, you can't have those open and transparent conversations that lead to commitment and accountability in the fine level of detail that we need in healthcare environments. So that trust, building that trust through great leadership, it might be unite on trust, who knows? Yeah. But we need that trust. That's the foundations of everything in our business. Our patients need to trust us. Our team needs to trust us that we're going to do what we say on the tin. And it goes back to integrity and authenticity again.
And if I waved a magic wand, and this is an interesting question for me, coming from being a dentist daughter, and I looked at the industry in 5 or 10 years from now, which was ready for a change, and that's before COVID hit. What would you like to see the dentistry industry looking like as a whole? What would shift and change that would be different from how they're operating today?
For me, I totally agree with you, Lindsay, that the work in silo, and often they work within a box because of all the guidance, the compliance, all of that. But what I would urge our industry to start doing is thinking outside that box. And one of the exercises that I do on one of my courses is the 9 dots. Have you ever done that?
No.
And you get 4 lines, and you take your pen. You have to join all those 9 dots with 4 lines without taking your pen off the page. And what people inherently do is try and join the dots within the box, because the three lines are 3 dots. So they try and keep it in the box, but actually you've got to extend your lines to actually draw them all up. And you go outside the box. You've got to think outside of those 9 dots to then be able to join them all up. And that's what I would love to do, is actually get our industry thinking laterally about how we can drive our businesses to success against adversity What can we do that's different? And I think one of the big drivers is going to be corporate social responsibility.
100%.
100%. Reaching out to our communities. And it might be in and around charitable campaigns like November is Mouth Cancer Action Month. Do the kind of things that we used to do in November. May into June is National Smile Month. And we're seeing so much press and media coverage of oral health issues, the impact that COVID's had. And one of the it's the top reason that children are admitted to hospital are for extractions, teeth extractions.
My brother was telling me all about them.
Yes. So, one other thing we can do is take our teams into schools to educate children. We used to do that.
Absolutely.
And we used to go to all our local schools, including the one that my children were at the time. And I had to go in disguise in the end, because literally all the families in that school ended up coming to our practice. So I think it's about building our businesses through integrity, authenticity, allowing people to see who you really are, what your purpose is in your business, so they absolutely trust you and they will want to come and see you. And they will tell their family and friends to come and see you as well, because everybody wants somewhere that they can go where they trust that they're going to get the best care possible, for their friends, for their family, for everybody that they love and care for. And people will follow you. I mean, I know I have that relationship with my GP. I'd follow him to the ends of the earth. He's just the most amazing GP. And I think if we can make our patients feel the same way, they will drive our businesses forwards. There's no doubt about it.
With my last word that I'll say to you on it, a big driver and something I would love to see and something I would love to get behind with you is all the industry uniting together, campaigning together and educating. You said it beautifully, educating parents on foods that kids are eating and what they're doing to their teeth, educating around issues that go on. Actually, I believe if people understood and got the education, and actually if dentists came together to campaign together rather than individually, then you would make a huge shift in the dental world, and we would be delighted to come and campaign with you around uniting on dentistry and educating the world on what they need to do to make that happen.
That would be absolutely amazing. And I agree with you, Lindsay. It's a very fragmented industry. There's some real key people who are doing amazing things in their own little bubbles.
In their own bubble.
And that is incredible in itself. But if we brought all of those bubbles together, how powerful would that be? It'd be amazing, wouldn't it?
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Nicki. I was absolutely dying to interview you, A, because you came through the school, B, because you're in an industry that I grew up in from childhood, and I'm absolutely loving watching what you're doing with the whole industry, and we'd be very proud to come on board and do something with you. So thanks for coming on LB Presents today.
And I'd love to have your support. Likewise, if there's anything I can do to help what you're doing, brilliant, bring it on.
Thank you so much. And thank you, viewers, for joining in once again for LB Presents. What an incredible interview with Nicki. She is absolutely moving and shaping things in the dental industry. And I would say watch this space with her, because she is definitely one to watch. And look, if you would like to come and join us, we are spinning around the globe on Bob Earth, which is the first purpose-led platform that connects businesses all around the world to trade around an impact. So if you would like to come and meet some of these incredible people that I am interviewing, then come and join us. Build a brand, grow your business, impact an industry, and shift the world. Hey, it's only a quiet revolution. I'm interviewing somebody every night, and you'll see me next week. And if you'd like to subscribe to the YouTube channel, share it with other people, or leave a comment for some of my guests that are coming on, and ask a question. We're always looking at the YouTube channel and we will respond straight away. See you later. Bye.